Here's a special message for you tonight. I don't know how your day went, but I know tomorrow can be better. You can simply learn, listen, and grow. Dolores Jones, your comeback coach, is here with you. I am super excited to check on you this evening to see how your day went and did you learn anything that's going to take you closer to your goal. So here's a secret. When you want to be on top, when you want to be a winner, you must learn to stand up inside yourself. You must learn to stand up inside yourself. Now, some people can connect with their inner critic. That's easy. We live in a very negative world. People will point out flaws and you don't even have to ask them. But you're more aware of your inner critic because whatever you feed is going to grow. So first of all, learning to stand up inside yourself means you have to build yourself from the inside out. And I'm going to let you know on a secret. It's not going to be by fried chicken, honey. It's not going to be fried chicken. You have to take some time to really find out who you really are on a spiritual level, intellectually, and of course physically. But see, a breakthrough thinking. You got to learn how to do some breakthrough thinking, honey. Now, people do stinking thinking all the time, and they'll tell you about it. You want to hear about it? Here you go. But when we talk about standing up inside of yourself, I want you to think about those days, those times when you just know you got it going on. You just know you got it going on. You know victory is mine. Victory today is mine. I told Satan, get me behind because victory today is mine. Okay, I'm talking about one of them songs, okay? All right. And you got it. And then you accomplish stuff when you know this because you're building the foundation of faith. You can think yourself positive all day long, but if it isn't a root inside of you, if your soul hasn't been anchored, then you're just thinking. Standing up inside yourself, it may go something like this. Now you know that you've accomplished so much, but on one of them days, just all hell breaks loose. Can we just say it like that? Hades, whatever you want to call it. And now you want to mope around. Since I lost my baby, ain't nobody called me and told me nothing. The inner Dolores says, look here, Jones. See, we're on a first name basis, me and my inner self. I said, yeah, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm chilling. You chilling? Yeah. What's wrong with you, Jones? I don't know. Well, you need to know, Jones, because you put the work in. This is just a moment in time. This isn't the end of your life. It's just a moment. What's wrong with you? What did you eat? Because you know you are what you eat. Who you been talking to? What you been watching? So my inner self says, let's do an inventory, girl, because somewhere you done slipped because God never changes. The only person that changes is us. So when something's not going well, I know God ain't tripping. It's me. I'm like, yo, Lord, can we have this conversation? Because I'm trying to understand this because what happened was, and sometimes it's time for you to move, but you won't move. So life has to move on you. You go to work and they give you a paycheck and a pink slip. What? Because you won't move. I'm guilty of that. Some of us will stay on jobs and complain about it and justify or just a lie. I got to pay this house note. I got to pay this car note. But you're miserable. So you're not even enjoying it. But you're still working like a slave, like a Hebrew. And God said, Angela, start your business. Michelle, did you write the book? Steph, did you call that person who wanted to do a contract with you? Did you go back to school? No. And you make up all kind of lies, and they're just lies, right? Sophisticated lies that you tell yourself, and you try to sell them to somebody else. Everybody know. People know when you're lying. And sometimes they look at you like that. But you got to stand up inside yourself and check yourself. And you can practice it. When you feel yourself feeling inadequate and insecure, as if to say you can't do it, but there's proof in your life that you've done it before and you can do it again, we give that credit to God because he is an on-time God. And they say if he's done it before, he can do it again, but he needs your help, honey. Hello? Okay. Let's think about Superman. I know y'all have heard of Superman. And he was fine, okay? Christopher Reeves, Lord bless his soul. Even Superman had kryptonite. And the thing was, they had to put the kryptonite around him. You know, if he saw the kryptonite, he would start tripping. But if they put it around his neck, it took him down. It took him down. So he kind of forgot. Or did he? He knew he was Superman. But that kryptonite was a trick of the devil. And eventually, with all of his strength and all of his might, he took that kryptonite off. And sometimes that's how it feels. It feels like a brick is on top of your head. Like you're struggling, like you chained to your past and your pain. You got to be able to lift that thing up and throw it off. And sometimes for me, I don't know how it works for you, but when I hear God's word or I hear a certain song in my spirit, I'm not talking about no booty popping, booty shaking things. I'm talking about them songs that minister down to your sin sick soul. Those songs that can hit you when nothing else can hit you. I'm not talking about a boo thing. I'm talking about the word of the living God. He says we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our testimony. Now, if it ain't working for you, you ain't, just do you. But see, sometimes our problem is we want to jump on the bandwagon with everybody else. Well, everybody else didn't save you. Everybody else ain't keeping you. Isn't that interesting? You find out what's working, and then because somebody else introduces you to something else is popular, so you figure, I'm going to do it too. Well, you don't have to keep jumping ship and trying everything. Everything is not for everybody, and everybody is not for everything. But once you find out what your thing is, that's what you need to do. You need to get busy. And see, when I go inside, I start to remember the scriptures. I start to remember the spiritual principles. I start remembering things like, now unto him who is able to do exceeding abundantly above all I could ask or think, according to the power that worketh in me. I got the power. You got to stay plugged into the power source. You know, you could have electricity in your home, but if you don't plug in the TV, you won't have anything. And sometimes you have to check it. You ever thought that your TV was broke, but you look behind it and it was disconnected? Okay. You got to be on top of that. You got to be on top of that. When you feel yourself tripping and slipping, you got to say, wait a minute, devil. Not today, not never, not now. Even if I have to crawl, listen. The man who was by the pool of Bethesda for 39 long years, he had an excuse. Every time the water gets to troubling, people get in front of me. And you may feel like that. Every time I apply for this promotion, somebody else gets it. It's because I'm black. It might be because I'm tall, dark, and handsome. It may be because she got it because she was sleeping with somebody. Whatever. You try to tell yourself that to take away the blow, right? But anyway, it has happened. But what my understanding is that promotion doesn't come from east or the west. It comes from above. It's God's truth, and I'm sticking to it. I'm Dolores May Jones, and I approve that message. Come on, somebody. Because it's worked for you before. Why would you do something different now? Why would you do that? I don't know. That's the old way. Well, if it's the old way and it's working for you, do it. Listen, a lot of people like to type, and that's their thing. They like to text. I like to write. I like to get a book in my hand. And I'm not against, the Kindle and all those other things, but I like to have an actual book in my hand. where I can flip the pages and write in it and put notes and turn the pages the way I need to. So I said to myself, Dolores, okay, you still need to get the hardback. Maybe you can buy it online, but you know how you do it. You need the hardback. So you have to adjust. You have to change your approach. That's what it's about. You don't necessarily have to change the dream, but you have to change the approach. Are you going about it the right way? Are you connecting and communicating with the right people? Are you taking the time to upgrade your skill? Or are you just still sitting there and just letting the cobwebs just, Lord have mercy, where the cobwebs come from? I don't know. But everybody got bones in their closets, and we are back skeletons. Dolores Shows is my name. I'm your comeback coach. I love to show you how to bounce back better, not bitter, through life experiences and bad decisions. Life is just a series of decisions and choices. And those choices comes with consequences. And sometimes, you married the booger. You thought you had a holy wedlock and you end up having an unholy deadlock. Come on, somebody, and talk to me, because I know I'm talking to myself. I said, I have got to get up out of here. Most people will ask you, what's wrong with you? The real question is, who is wrong with you? Because you do know the people you hang around will have a direct impact on how you live your life. If you got all these leeches all on you, sucking the blood out of you, sucking the life out of you, and then you go home and when you need them, they can't be found. You talking about blood is thicker than water. Baby, I don't care how thick blood is. If you do me wrong, I'm just going to have to put you on the altar straight up. You going on the altar. Jesus is going to have to help you. Some of us are so loyal to a fault. You so loyal, you acting stupid. You so loyal, you acting stupid. You got to readdress, go back and look at, what does loyalty really mean? What does it really look like? What's the best thing in this situation? What's the best approach in this situation? Some of us, it ain't working. I ain't going to try nothing else. I tried it one time. I tried it 3 times, 4 times. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. And sometimes you have a gift and the gift needs to show up in a different way. Y'all know I started with radio. And eventually I went into television, and now I do coaching and I do speaking, and I'm an author and I'm a coach and I'm a social worker. See, all those different places I can show up, but there's one specific place that God wants me to be, and I'm working to get there. Les Brown said it like this. He said, your job is how you get paid, but your calling is what you were made for. That's what you were made for. And you know what it is, but because somebody's already talked you out of it. Girl, ain't nobody doing that. Can't nobody, they call them a starving artist. But let me tell you something, honey. The people who really know that that's what they need to do, they'll sleep in their car. They'll sleep in what they call that, a Geo. Tyler Perry slept in his car, honey. Slept in his car. I think he saved like close to $15,000 to put on his first play, if not more. And only 8 people showed up. And it was the people he knew, probably from the church. Talking about bless his heart, Jesus. Do it, Jesus, today. But if you're looking at him now, he's a billionaire. He stayed true to the cause, but he tried a different approach. He kept doing those plays because that's what he knew. But eventually, he got connected with somebody named T.D. Jakes. And T.D. Jakes wrote this book called Woman Thou Art Loose. And somebody told T.D. Jakes, you need to turn this book into a movie. And so we don't know any producers. We don't know anybody who can write plays or anything like this. And somebody said, well, there's this guy named Tyler Perry. And there was a relationship. And there was a book. And then there was a movie. And there was a movement. You got to stand up inside yourself. Remind yourself of the victories. Remind yourself of what God has done for you. Honey, let me tell you something. I get so happy sometimes in my car. I go, woo, thank you, Jesus. I got to put it back on there because I'm driving home. But I got to thinking, do you ever just take the time to think, Dolores, 2014, you literally was out of your mind. People thought you was doing okay because you was on television. But you would go from the TV to the bedroom from the bedroom to the hospital. The doctors felt like there was nothing else they could do. You literally like walked through 2015 like a zombie. Your family was like, what's wrong with Dee Dee? They couldn't figure it out. I was so dazed. I was out of my mind. I was so doped up. And it was miserable. And had I had a gun, I'm just going to be honest with y'all, I wanted to end the misery. So before you judge somebody when they fall, think about how long they stood up and they fought. Depression is a real thing. Mental health is serious, but God is still on the throne. If you need medication, take your medication. But medication alone isn't going to do it. I'm here to tell you that. I take my vitamins every day. You better be glad I take my medication. Because some of y'all be like, Dolores is certifiably crazy. And I would get that disability check. Do you hear me? In fact, I tried, but they wouldn't give me one. Anyway, you got to stand up inside yourself. Dolores, you remember when you went through this and some things you don't even remember. And then you sit down and you're like, oh my God, I forgot I went through that. I forgot I was on house arrest. Yes, I was on house arrest. I was on 8 months of house arrest. The federal government came after me, the feds. Why? One of my relatives was running from them. And y'all know sometimes we try to get in there and help them out. And I felt like I was a social worker, so they gonna listen to me. They was like, girl, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. And I was just upset and emotional. And I didn't think I did anything wrong. But 1 year later, after I wrote this article on my Facebook page called Feds at a Funeral, are there no boundaries? Honey, they came after me. They came out to Oak Park Mall, for those of you that live in Kansas, Overland Park, Kansas. That day I couldn't run because my hair was cut. It was blonde. I'm walking in the back door with my cup of ice from Quick Trip. I got my stilettos that I'm wearing. I'm going to Baker's shoes to work. And honey, before I could get through the door, men in black surrounded me. And I am not talking about Will Smith. They said to me, are you Dolores Jones? I said, yes, I am. They said, you're under arrest for assaulting a U.S. Marshal. I said, hold on, everybody calm down. They said, ma'am, we are calm. I was like, what is going on? Before I knew it, they put me in a black unmarked car. One marshal in the front and two in the back. They start quizzing me, talking about, what was it like to meet Oprah? What was it like to meet Bill Cosby? I said, y'all all up in my business. I still had to keep a sense of humor. Next thing you know, I'm being fingerprinted. They got me shackled with stilettos on. And I'm doing like this, trying to get up to the judge. Everything's going fast. I got a public defender. My brother called them a public pretenders. And they start asking me questions. And I'm like, Jesus, who's going to go get my son? Everything happened so quickly. And it was a Friday. My attorney goes, you shouldn't be here. I said, I know that. And then the journey began. I had to pay monthly a fee. I had to check in with a probation officer. I was a college professor checking in with a probation officer. And when the time came, I had to go get that big old unattractive device ankle bracelet. But I still had to use a sense of humor. I said to the parole officer, the probation officer, I said, if y'all planning on having women wear these, y'all need to get some that are smaller. He's looking like, girl, are you serious? I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this bracelet and I'm going to put some rhinestones on it. You're not going to put anything on it. Honey, after he clanked that thing on my right ankle, I went straight over to Hobby Lobby. I got me some material. I wrapped that thing up and put a rose on it. I was still leading praise and worship. People thought it was a fashion statement. Little girls was coming up to me talking about, Sister Dolores, how did you do that? Where can I buy that? Honey, I went to interviews, got hired at where did they hire me at? At the Chamber of Commerce. And I was on house arrest. Well, what did that mean, Dolores? That meant somebody was restricting the time I could be outside. And instead of seeing it as somebody making me do something, I said, okay, Lord, this is a great lesson in time management because I don't have time to sit around and do silly things with silly people. I got to get busy. I got to do what I got to do because eventually I got to go in the house. The saving grace for me was my son was with me and he had a schedule. So Monday through Friday, I had to be at home by 10 o'clock. Saturdays, I had to be at home by 7. And Sundays, I had to be at home by 2:30, so no more evening services. And I had to be there on time or else the machine would go off. And then these marshals would show up unannounced, knock on the door and then get back because they didn't want to get shot. But every time I opened the door, I remembered who I was. I said, Dolores Jones, I don't care what is on your ankle or between your pinky toe. You are still a child of God, and you are worthy of love and respect. And this too shall pass. You know this is nothing but a test. And it's preparing you for something that you cannot handle, as Daryl Coley said. Honey, I went through that experience with my head held high. Every time they saw me, I was dressed to the nines. Every time. They came over one day, I said, hey, you want something to eat? I just made some chicken and some corn. You want some coffee? They're like, who is this girl? And they said, you can't take a bath with that thing on, honey. I ran my bathtub. I put my roses in there. I got in the tub and left the one leg out of the tub that had the bracelet on it. Who said I can't take a bath? I took that bath. I was also a two-stepper. That was the way I got myself together. Honey, I went dancing from 7:30 to 9:30 and was at home by 10 o'clock. You got to stand up inside yourself. And I just kept doing what God told me to do. I just kept being kind. Finally, my attorney called me. He said, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. He said, Chris called me and said, we need to take you off of house arrest because this is a waste of taxpayers' money. Meaning they was waiting for me to slip up, but I never slipped. Mm-mm. And every time I had to report in, they was talking to me. And I would say, hello. You're not going to call me number 999345 in Block Cell B. That's not who I am. My name is Victory. I'm a child of the King. This ain't nothing but a chicken wing. By the time I finish my time, honey, the probation officer's supervisor wanted to see me. She said, I just needed to see you. And she said, well, I'm not saying I wish you had gone to prison or jail, but just the way you handled this, I wish you could just really talk to other people who are going through and they can't handle it. And I looked at her and I said, okay. And I'm thinking, if you don't cut this bracelet off my ankle, ma'am, I said, well, maybe we can work a contract up or something. See, in life, it's 10% of what happens to you and 90% of what you choose to do about it. I could have complained. I could have told everybody, well, they messing me around. They want, and here's the crazy thing. My family never went to court with me. Why? Because some things you have to do alone. I didn't need them up in there being emotional. I had two people in that place with me. I had Elder Davis, rest his soul. He was the assistant pastor. And I had my cousin I called Aunt Nancy because she was a prayer warrior. When I went to court, she was praying behind me and he was trying to give a good character witness. But God still prevailed. I never had to admit that I hit anybody because I didn't. They wanted me to take a plea deal and I didn't because I knew I didn't assault anybody. That would have been the end of my career in social services. So my attorney found a way out. He said, would you say that you interfered? I said, yeah, I interfered with the arrest of the person. Okay, we're going to charge you with that. It's a misdemeanor. You got to do 3 years of probation, 8 months of house arrest. And I did it and didn't miss a beat. Now, isn't it interesting how you could go back and tell yourself a story about how you got through it and how you made it over? And then you get hit with something like, your lights get turned off. Oh God, they done turned my lights off, Jesus. I can't watch How to Get Away with Murder. Oh, I can't watch Netflix, and you get to tripping out. Or somebody walks out on you. Oh, if I never hear your tender kiss again, if I never hear I love you now and then, I won't breathe again. I said, no, Tony Braxton, that is from the devil. Oh, no, ma'am. No, and no. I had to throw the cassette out of the window on the highway because sometimes you listen to the wrong thing when you're in the thick of it. You ain't got time to be sitting there listening to no low love song, all this stuff. Talking about, child, some of that music is just, it's a mess. It's a mess. And you wonder why you can't get over. You sitting there listening to all this foolishness. Ain't nothing wrong with secular music or R&B and all this other stuff. But there's a time and place for everything. You sitting there, Lord, help me. Just move on, Jesus. Just please help me move on. And even in correcting yourself, that's how you're standing up inside of yourself. You got to say, what are you doing? Why are you sitting here listening to this? Well, what? Is it building you up or is it tearing you down? God don't have to crack the sky for you to do what's right. You got to use your memory. Reflect. And every victory, you need to cherish it. So when you get ready to start tripping, you can stand up inside yourself. And then when you're ready to go smooth ghetto, you got to be able to stand up inside yourself. Now, let me give y'all an example, because some of us are saved, but we're not delivered. And back when I got divorced, honey, I got divorced and we had a child custody situation. And the judge gave his father residential custody. And I said, Lord, ain't nothing wrong with me. Why he can't go with me? And I was devastated. And my grandmother looked at me, my great grandmother. She said, Dolores, she said, Dee Dee, you are still his mother. But if you lose it, Ricky's going to lose you. In other words, you need to hold it together. You need to keep it together until God fixes it. And what I had to learn is that sometimes God doesn't change the situation. He changes me. And I went from hell and back. I was going back and forth to court. I was paying child support at $400 a month, going back and forth to court. They wouldn't lower it because I had a master's degree, going back and forth to court. I went from seeing my baby every day to seeing him once a week for 3 hours. And then eventually once a week for 3 hours and every other weekend. It was like intended to break me down. And I just kept going back to court. And one day I went to court. And the judge gave my ex what he wanted. And I felt so upset. I went out into that hallway, honey. I had on these beautiful platform heels. And the homie said, why don't you just hit him in the head and then hit him in the temple and he will die? I said, that sounds like a good idea. I took my right heel off, baby. I cocked it back and threw it. I hit him on the shoulder. I said, oh, Jesus. Now I forgot where I was, right? So something said, you know you got another shoe. Don't miss your target. I took the other shoe off. I cocked it back. I threw it at him. And when I looked up, all these bailiffs was running towards me on the CBs. 1-1, we got a crazy woman in the hallway. 10-fold. And one of the sheriffs got to me, and he was this black man. And I just felt a fatherly presence around him. And he said, baby girl. And I said, I'm just so tired. And I laid my head in his chest and I just wept. He said, I got her, because they was ready to lock me up. Clank. He said, baby girl. I said, yes, sir. He said, would you put your shoes back on? I said, yes, I'm really not crazy. He said, I know you're not, because I listened to you on the radio. I said, but I prayed about it and I asked God. And he said, but don't pick it back up when you give it to God. And you know what happened to me that day? There was a shift in my perspective. And as clear as I'm talking to you, I heard it like this. Dee Dee, you can't control the quantity of time, but you can control the quality of time you have with Ricky. And that's what you need to do. And so instead of focusing on the hours and the minutes and the seconds, I started focusing on the quality of time. If I had 3 hours with my son, I took him to feed the ducks. If I had 3 hours with my son, I took him and we went roller skating. Whatever time I had, I made it the best time he ever had. And then all of a sudden, my ex started calling. Dolores, do you think? And I started getting what I had always wanted. And then eventually my son came to live with me full time again. But it took 11 years. But by the time my son came to live with me, I was a completely different woman. Baby, I was kicking butt and taking names. Why am I sharing this with you? I'm not sharing this to impress you. I am sharing this to impress upon you the necessity, the importance of remembering your victories. And so when you start tripping out, you'll go back and say, I'm that same bad mama jamma. You sure are. Whatever your kryptonite is, it ain't got to keep you down. It might knock you down, but you got to get back up. Somebody said, if you can look up, you can get up. Why is that? Because I look unto the hills from which cometh my help. All my help coming from the Lord who made the heavens and the earth. Now, when I get to slipping, sometimes I got to... I have to listen to my own videos. In fact, I'm about to go in the house and I'm going to listen to my own videos. Stand up inside yourself. Stop fussing with other people. They're not paying your bills. They're not a part of your destiny. If they're gone, let them go. Let them go. I came into this world naked and by myself, and I'm leaving naked and by myself, unless they put a really pretty dress on me during my service. Ray said, you are talking real good. Thank you, Ray. Okay? You came in here butt naked and crying with no clothes on. And look at you now. And somebody said they don't like you, or somebody said you're fired. Baby, they didn't fire you. They released you. Had I not been let go from several jobs, several jobs, I thought something was wrong with me. All my family, they kept working. They were retiring from jobs. I said, what's wrong with me? My cousin Kim said, there's nothing wrong with you, Dee Dee. You just have a different assignment. I said, okay. And my assignment is to coach people. My assignment is to be a speaker all over the world. But had I not gone through anything, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything. They were like, she cute, but she ain't saying nothing. But I've lived this stuff. And I'm one of the redeemed. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. So I'm saying so. You don't have to agree with anything that is not beneficial. You don't have to do that. You do know that, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do that. Now, if you're doing it, you're choosing to do it. But there are other options. But you have to be willing to be courageous enough to go out there. Being courageous means to keep going even when you've been knocked down like 65 times. And you got to keep going back. You got to tell yourself, there's a yes out here somewhere. And I'm going to find it. You got to have enough faith to keep stepping, even when you can't see the staircase, honey. Okay? Dolores, you know so much. Baby, I went to conferences that I couldn't even afford. I said, Lord, now, you know I need to be up in there. He said, you sure do. Just get your happy hips and just show up. Now, don't show up like you begging for something. Walk up in there like you own it. I would show up. And they would say, ma'am, can we show you to your seat? I said, you sure can. That's what it's about. You got to be about it. Don't talk about it. I can show you better than I can tell you. Watch me do it. Watch me get it done. Let them talk all they want to. It's just senseless chatter. Listen, Dolores says she wants to be like Oprah. That's what one of my professors said back in the day, Mr. Ken Collins. Ha 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 ha. She says she wants to be like Oprah. 2007, I was center stage with Oprah. Oprah knows who Dolores May Jones is, and there's a picture on my Facebook page to show it. Don't come for me, devil. And it ain't over. Not until the fat lady sings. It ain't over until I say so and God agrees, because that's the thing. I really ain't running nothing most of the time but my mouth. You understand that, right? And when you recognize who is really in control, not just on Sundays or not when you feel good, but always and forever. And if your belief system isn't working for you, then you need a new belief system, honey. I don't know why you would keep believing things that ain't working for you. Why would you keep trying to turn on a car that doesn't have a battery? That's all I want to know. Some of this stuff you already know, right? But sometimes it's great to be reminded about it. And just consider this a friendly reminder from God on high. Now take this information, this video, and share it, like it, and share it, and share it, and share it. And I appreciate it. Oh, yes, I do. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's Dolores Jones TV. I appreciate you. And Facebook, I appreciate you. And Instagram, I appreciate you. And all of you who dare to show up in your life every day. I appreciate you because you never know who's watching you. You never know who's watching you. And although I'm usually, the encourager, I'm watching people like a Robin Stanley or Angela or a Ray. I'm watching y'all. Like a Tommy Terrell who sings so beautifully. Monique White, who is the mogul media master. I'm watching you. Keep going. Somebody's going to help you. Keep asking for help until you get it. Don't stop asking. The word said ask, seek, and knock. Some of y'all won't even ask. And you definitely won't seek it out. I'm tired. I ain't getting on no metro bus, baby. I was on a metro when I first went to junior college. No water at home, no lights. I was bathing in the basement bathroom of Donnelly College with a dream to be like Oprah Winfrey. I came to class every day dressed up. Went downstairs, used the restroom, and I used some very cheap deodorant called Tussie. Lord help us. Thank you for secret, Lord, and for degree. Washed my face, got myself together, quoted a scripture, sang one of them songs my great grandmother taught me, and went into class, stayed at the school until the school was closed to get all my homework done. I didn't have time for excuses. I was behind on my bills and on my dreams. Honey, I was behind. And I kept my behind in Bible study, singing, and just keeping myself full, just full of everything I needed to see the possibilities. First semester, 4.0. That's as high as you could go. I was a presidential scholar, paid for the rest of my schooling because of my grades. I was struggling, but I wasn't stupid. Transferred to the #1 journalism school in the nation at the time, Columbia School of Journalism. I'm there with people from all across the world. This little girl from Kansas who was born to a single 15-year-old mother. My mama died when she was 21 years old. I was 5 years old. Just last week, we buried my uncle, her brother. I'm 50 and he was 69, and it took a lot out of me. But I had to say, Dolores Jones, God did not bring you this far to leave you. Never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Never. You got to encourage yourself. Like David said, you got to encourage yourself. You got to look at yourself in the mirror, girl. Put your eyelashes on. Find that picture where you know you was sure enough fine. You were so fine, other women said, I got to go home and change my clothes. That's what I'm talking about. You got to go hard sometimes and go look at some of them pictures, honey. Go look at them pictures. I have to look at my picture. I said, girl, you better put this on Facebook. No, you better put this on your dresser. Sometimes you feel down, but you ain't go around looking broke down. Some of y'all look like y'all ain't going nowhere. Like The Walking Dead. They got a show called The Walking Dead. I don't know why people watch that, but anyway, they got a show called The Walking Dead. No enthusiasm. Life has literally beat the hell out of you. But you got comeback power. But you first got to come back to the source of your power. You got to stop spending time with people who are not going anywhere. Small-minded people. If you're the smartest person in your group is too small. How you going to learn something new when you know everything? And then you have to be teachable. You have to have a teachable spirit. And don't be so doggone arrogant. I'm Dr. So-and-so. Baby, you can have more degrees than a thermometer. That don't mean nothing. When you're in the thick of it, your college degree, baby, you could use that paper on the wall for toilet paper. Do you hear me talking to you? Some of y'all need some real clap back. I need to tell y'all. It's a piece of paper. It symbolizes you completed something. But it doesn't mean that's all you are. As Chadwick Boseman said, he said, your grade is not an indication of what you're capable of. God is the indication of what you're capable of. And you need to get busy. If it's hard, do it hard. And then go get a massage. But whatever you do, give it all you've got. Give it what you got. And when you've done all you can do, make sure it was all you could do. And then stand still and let God do the rest. And when you feel yourself having one of them moments, go pop this CD back in, watch this video again. And stand up inside yourself. Stand up inside yourself. You ain't no wimp. You ain't no punk. You're a warrior. I didn't want to fight this girl. My Uncle Mikey said, you going back out there and fight that girl? I said, Mikey, I don't want to fight her. We was friends. He said, you going outside to fight. I didn't want to fight. He made me fight somebody. But he was there making sure I didn't die. But he made me fight. He was like, you can't keep running, Dee Dee. That's why I miss him so much. He made me fight. I said, get in there, Dee Dee, and fight. Get to swinging. Baby, I don't fight. I bite. Mike Tyson ain't got nothing on me. Ask the girl who I bit back when we was in elementary school. She's still my friend now, though. Tiffany's still my friend. I love her. I wouldn't fight her today, though. I would not fight her today. Go find some of your stories that you can laugh about. You need to laugh a little bit, okay? The word talks about that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Go find something to laugh about. Go find something on Netflix to laugh about. Forget 48 hours and 62 minutes and all this other stuff. The last 48. So what? I ain't worried about anybody else's last 48. Last 48. We're in Detroit. The car was missing. The gun was there. I'm like, listen, sir, that's happening every day. I don't need to be dealing with nobody else's problems. I got enough going on with myself. Thank you very much. All right. Y'all have a good afternoon, a good evening. Hasta luego. Bye-bye. A tout à l'heure. Spanish, French. I took some French. A tout à l'heure means I'll talk to you later. All right. Peace. I'm out. Dolores Jones, your comeback coach. I'll see you in a minute, honey. I'll see you in a minute. I promise. I promise you I will. And I want to hear about your praise reports. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear no sad song. I want to hear about your praise report. I'll holler.